Okay.
one second.
Who's
Here.
the, where's it going to be played?
Well, right now, let me explain this to you. It's being played on the cover of Facebook. It's, I mean, basically on the news feed. We make up websites, things like wearetheradio.com. You can embed these players in blogs. They're embedded like in things like, Brooklyn Vegan or Pitchfork Media. They can just, or Magnet Magazine. They can just put this player on a page and you can watch my show.
Okay.
So this is nuts stuff.
Okay.
Okay, so
how come I can't see you?
because I'm on the actual TV of the show. If you want, I'll just show you something. If you want to watch it, but you have to mute this. Let me pull up this. You can watch it on my Facebook page. Right now, if you click on the one that says, it has a little Japanese flag. And
Hang on a second, let me do that.
On my profile, Anton Fjordson, and we'll watch together. I'm showing this. You just mute the sound and you're going to see your own face. There's about a 3-second lag right now due to the Wi-Fi of Germany.
Okay, hang on, let me log in to, what's the name?
I'm Anton Fjordson on Facebook, because you've been emailing me.
Yeah. So what kind of people are going to watch it?
Right now, I have 38 players going. It's international. This is European based. So basically, once I post this on our actual site, what's going to happen is loads of people are going to watch this. There you are. Because I can beam this directly to YouTube right now. And so this interview will exist on YouTube. I can do anything with this.
Hang on.
Put you over here. Do you get that when you click on just the little link?
Yeah. Hang on. There's the delay.
You just don't want to listen to that sound because I find that confusing for people.
Turn down my volume.
Just talk to Skype. And trust that this is being beamed. I'm in one side, I'm on the right-hand side, and you're on the left.
Trust.
Vice versa.
Okay. Okay, so I'm on your Facebook page with the cat.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that right?
Yeah, now watch.
Now I hit
the little blue triangle on the one that looks like a Japanese flag with a skull in it.
Okay. Hit that.
And then you'll see the player, and we'll both be on there as soon as it loads. See? Because I'm looking at it right here. There's
39 people watching this.
There's 40 players, but there's probably about 300, 400 people watching or more, because if you type in BrianJonestownMassacre.com or We Are the Radio, I send this feed. What I do, Steve, is I just pick a random URL. I pay for it, register it with the International Association.
Why is this thing come on?
That's a commercial.
You got commercials?
No, that's Ustream taking advantage of all the people watching. It's not obtrusive. Just give it a second.
Wow. What, they just jumped in on it?
Yeah, because they know that this is hot shit.
Yeah, right.
But turn down that audio on that player, please. There you go.
On my player?
Yeah, you just want to listen to Skype. And trust that.
I just wanted the Skype. Oh, on that player, sorry. Okay,
if you just click on the volume.
Okay. The delay has gone.
Okay, well, here we go. How you doing, Steve?
I'm pretty good, man.
Very cool. So, you'll get the hang of this even by watching the program. You would get the hang of it in a second. We'll just have a quick chat. So, we're talking with Steve Kilbey from the church, most notably, but he's an artist from Australia, and a very prolific and successful artist. And the main reason why I'm interested in interviewing you is because I find it really inspirational. You're a few years older than me, and you're still carrying on. The quality level of your work is incredibly consistent in an industry where people factor in there's the first record, and then there's the sophomore slump, and then you're over. And here you guys are. You had, a lot of people know from not only from commercials but just from radio. They had a really massive worldwide hit with Under the Milky Way, and this has been a long time back, but they're still going and still very relevant. So anyways, Steve, what got you interested in music or the arts first?
Do you know, I can't remember a time when I wasn't interested in it. It's like that was what I was.
Yeah.
I was interested in, always interested in music, and when I hit my teenage years, it just exploded to become an obsession. So something it was sort of in there with the footy and something else and playing marbles and blah, blah, blah.
Right.
At a certain age, it just became everything to me. Like, if I met a guy in a playground and I was talking about King Crimson, he didn't know who I was talking about, I'd like be, fuck you, you can't be my friend.
Yeah.
You don't know who King Crimson are. Do you know what I mean? Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, exactly.
How can you talk not knowing who fucking King Crimson are in 1970, and In the Court of the Crimson King was like hugely influential album.
Of course. We'll probably play that during one of our breaks.
Really?
Did you see Children of Men where they placed that song in the movie?
No.
Brilliant film. It's like brilliant film from the UK. It's one of those like Philip K. Dick type stories about the world's gone nuts and Britain becomes isolated. Everybody's trying to flock to the UK and stuff, and they're putting everybody in detention camps and shipping them out, and it's just like apocalyptic. It's the end of the world. Nobody's having children anymore.
And what song did they play?
Court of the Crimson King.
Oh, okay.
Because one of the sidelines of the movie is that the protagonist, his cousin, is a part of this ARC foundation where they're saving like art. You know, they stopped these riots at the Louvre, and they've got the Statue of David halfway broken, and so he's kind of rolling into this armed sort of metropolis area and to talk to his brother or whatever, his cousin. It's just a great movie, man.
Wow.
It's pretty far out.
Wow.
So anyways, King Crimson. So back in the day when the punk thing started in California, it was the same kind of way. You know, you knew that other people, you were all in the same boat for a while there by just what your interest was. Even if you were into psychedelic too, or mod, or, you know, the skinhead music, the ska stuff or something, you still knew there was kindred spirit. Like when you guys came out, I knew that you guys were kindred with the whole thing. Go ahead.
A weird thing is the first time I ever heard of you guys, someone in America gave me a comic, and in the comic there was this kid sort of leading this weird life, and one day you see into his record collection and there's Church and Brian Jonestown Massacre, among others.
Yeah.
Among a very esoteric amount, a whole bunch of esoteric bands.
Right.
And that's the first, do you remember that? Did you ever read that comic?
No.
Okay.
But that's okay. You know, one of my early goals was to enter the popular lexicon, and I've certainly done that. Now when a band comes from Australia or something that's a neo-psych band, they mention my group in the same breath. And that, for me, is enough. It's more than all the record deals that I turned down are you know, licensing or whatever, because it's really what I wanted. Was, like, to me, Jimi Hendrix is the epitome of a certain kind of thing as an artist.
Yeah.
And Eric Clapton is the antithesis of that.
Yeah.
And so, not to knock that guy down, but, you know, it's just bullshit versus reality. And I think that the thing that I was always interested in was I was born in 1967. So I was interested in psychedelic, and not psychedelic by Paisley shirt or Vox guitars or whatever. Psychedelic in the sense that mind expanding. When Brian Jones brought the different instruments into play, and people brought the multiple influences, whether it's the dark surf stuff with the Andalusian hints or all these different elements, that's what I love about music, is that wide open, kick down the doors, anything can happen moment. Are you there?
You know what's happened, Anton? You're you're coming through in kind of broken. Occasionally, it's like, you know what I mean?
That's okay. Sorry.
Yeah, but I don't know. I didn't understand I got up to the bit about you liked people having lots of different influences.
Sure. Psychedelic being.
But then you broke up.
Okay. What I was saying, the thing that appeals to me is the mind expanding nature of psychedelic, not the cliches of Paisley Underground or what.
The substance.
The Brian Jones.
And you know what? There were so many bands in Australia that well, I guess there's been like 3 explosions of psychedelia. There's the original explosion of psychedelia, then there's the church and all of that psychedelia, and then there's the kind of modern day, or maybe your generation, psychedelia.
No, there's a new one now. There's a new one now, and you see this influence in like people like Reza. He's got John Frusciante and these different singers. You see it in the hip hop stuff, the producers of Flying Lotus and the dubsteppers. I mean, there's multiple aspects of this psychedelia, meaning mind expanding, and this a postmodernist pastiche approach of taking what you like. Oh, is your Skype messing up?
It is a little. Were you going to ask me? Were you going to ask me how that related to me?
Okay, going back to you, yes. What do you think about the Dada movements?
You know what? I don't like it.
Oh, really?
I like it. I like the idea of it, but I can never just like something just because it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Because there's loads of bands that were fucking great ideas, like MX80 Sound.
Sure.
Have you ever heard of them?
Yeah.
I used to read reviews of them on paper. They were a great idea, but actually listening to it wasn't a great idea. So I don't like things that are only theories. They've got to actually fucking produce something good. And no, I don't like Dada, but I love the idea of Dada.
Sure.
And then Surrealism, which directly came after that and was sort of in some ways influenced by Dada.
Sure.
I kind of, in that, I like in equal parts the manifestos and the results, but I don't think with all the surrealist poets that any of them were really successful, or any of them you really. It may be that, like the ones I like best, like Apollinaire. He wasn't really even a surrealist, but none of them are as good as sort of Arthur Rimbaud or Baudelaire. So I don't know, the Dada itself, as a sort of a manifesto, as a kind of a way to applying it to rock music. And one day, they used to have the Battle of Bands in Canberra, and all these bands would come on and play a couple of songs to win this talent contest. And Peter Koppes and I would always go. And one year there was a band called Dada, and they came on stage and they were just doing anything, which to us in 1968 or 1969 or something is like, fuck, I didn't know you could do that. And they were called Dada, and the singer was running around going, Dada, Dada. And then they wouldn't stop. And then the schmarmy host came on and went, yes, well, that's enough of that. And then they wouldn't stop. And they were kind of walking through the audience, playing their instruments. And it was like a real happening.
Yeah.
It was like an outrage. And at the end of the night, when the pathetic winning band, who was like a copy of 100 soft rock bands, won, the crowd erupted and were going, Dada, Dada,
so cool.
Dada.
So good. I've always been into, like, the first thing that I noticed was when you had a short cropped hair as a kid in this garage movement that raised its head. The thing about punk that I was really into is I started getting into music, I guess, when I was 2 or 3. I started being able to articulate it and started playing records. My first record was Surfer Joe by the Safaris, and it was a gift. And
Yeah.
but I never thought I could play music because of rock stardom. Because these guys were up there doing this, dressed like that, with people that liked them, and I never felt any of that stuff. When I saw punk rock, wait 1 second. When I saw punk rockers go up on stage, I went, "These guys are fucking idiots. I can blow them away."
Right.
And then I took the psychedelic thing and put that in the ethos of, "Come on, we can do this, and I don't need your permission. In fact, I won't stop." So that to me was like a real epiphany, is seeing regular people play music, folk music, not just folky style, but just the action of folks playing music. And I've never let that go away. Now, all my friends have had massive successes, and they seem like successes, but they aren't. You know, like I told Kurt Cobain he was an idiot because I was already a Kurt Cobain years before that, which is basically a post-punk little brat playing in a garage band and incorporating Bowie and everything into it. But, you know, in hindsight, I guess there was something there. It isn't for me, but, you know, I only gained a little bit of respect for the guy after he blew his brains out. I was like, well, I guess he was serious.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, back to arts. You know, the other thing that I'm really interested in, like I said, is your personal commitment to the exploration of your sound. I really like the Sea Lion song. When you guys came out with that, it impressed me more than your records right just before that. To me, it was like, wow, that you guys were like tapped into a bunch of different things. It was very current sounding, it was very relevant, and it was just a beautiful little world, which is something that I like in a piece of art. Is I like to be able to identify with it, and I like to be submissive to it and see where it takes me, and then think about it, you know, thought-provoking stuff. And that was a nice one.
Do you know what? In some incredible case of synchronicity, Anton, you're not going to believe this.
Yeah.
But this morning I was walking along and I got walking along after I'd had my swim at the pool,
Yeah.
listening to my iPod, and I had a strange urge to listen to Sea Lion. Out of the blue, I haven't listened to any of that album for maybe 5 years or
Yeah.
1 or 2, or even thought about it, and this morning I had a strange urge to listen to Sea Lion. Now,
So-
how's that? And then you mentioned that song right now.
Well,
That's fucking...
Yeah,
What's the
but
chance of that?
you have to understand, Greg Shaw from Bump Records one time walked up to me and he said, "Hey, Anton, take a hit of this for a second." And I did, and he dosed me on DMT, like a massive dose, unexpected, as I fell to the ground and had a seizure, and that changed the way I think about life. It wasn't a choice, even though I had read about this and was friends with Tim Larry and all this jazz and mumbo jumbo. That was an epiphany moment. That was something where I had to basically fight to maintain my personal identity within that DMT spirit experience. And that puts me, I had already investigated a lot of psychedelics, that puts me in a different league of psychic sort of synchronicity with people. And that's a fact. I just do it. Like, for instance, I invented this without asking. There was nobody to ask because it didn't exist. I didn't read about it. I just did it on MDMA. But I mean, that's all good and well. That there's nothing new. Steve Jobs and Wozniak, they invented Macintosh computers on acid. This is really common if you can navigate the psychedelic experience in unison with technology. Then you're cooking with gas.
Absolutely.
But that isn't the emphasis of the show now, to get people to do drugs or what have you, or even talk about it. I'm just being honest because I think all kinds of closeted behavior does a disservice to humanity. Because sneaky is next to scummy. So I don't sneak. And real gangsters don't. They don't run away from things because they can't run fast.
Come on, ask me some musical questions. That's what people really want to hear.
Well, no, they were actually fascinated by everything. Here we go. What are you doing lately? Are you working on recordings or playing live or what's going on?
I've got about 4 collaborations, all imminently due in different stages.
Very cool. Are they different types of things? Are you just guest appearing, or what's going on?
In all of them. One of them is with a guy called Martin Kennedy, and he writes these kind of ambient-ish instrumentals.
Okay.
And then another one is with a friend of yours, Ricky Mamie.
Yeah.
And we made up this character, and then we made up a record that the character made.
Oh, that's a time-honored tradition, right?
Kind of. Who's done that apart from that one geezer did it and fucked up his career?
Screaming Lord Sutch. Lots of people. Even Screaming Jay Hawkins. It's all this like character. If you look at everybody, Bob Dylan is a character. You know, he's Woody with a fake name.
Okay,
So,
all right, of course.
but then there's, like all the psychedelic theme records where people, Sgt. Pepper is one, right? It's like Sgt. Pepper, this imaginary.
Absolutely.
So that's
Absolutely. Cool. I keep thinking of the Garth Brooks. He invented a character called what was the character called?
It was dumb.
He had these videos made with this wig on and his face, and did you see it?
I remember vaguely. I hate mainstream media, but I remember. Yeah, I remember that.
It fucked his career.
Yeah, well, you know what? The weird thing that happens that fucks people's careers is like, you look at Nicolas Cage, he's making $20 million a film or whatever, and then he goes to the bank and he finds out he has zero money. That's what fucks people's careers. They realize that it's just an imaginary thing. And that realization sends Britney Spears to shave off her hair when she realized that it isn't her, that she's just playing this role. And that's a fact, and that she has no power. She can't even get her money out of the bank still from the courts. So there is no money. There is no Britney Spears money, period. And that's a fact. And it happens over and over again. If Madonna pulled up at Barclays Bank and said, give me 50 million pounds right now, they would not do it. It's against the law. And what they would do is they say, you have a line of credit to buy whatever you want. But they won't give you 50 million pounds in cash. You cannot do it.
Isn't it the same thing? Isn't it the same thing?
No.
What difference does it make?
Because. That's why there's no gold in Fort Knox. It's an imaginary thing.
Oh, yeah. No, I agree with that.
There is no money in the bank. You see, they're loaning out.
There isn't.
There isn't. So that's why.
There isn't. But if you've got a line of credit, what's the difference?
It doesn't matter. That's why I constantly reinvest everything I make. And it gets crazier. I do not use a bank account. The only way you can beat inflation is to do what I'm doing. I use resources and build. And I can do anything I want in the whole world with that power. We could talk about that another time. But no, seriously, because I want to tell you that, I'm not using this interview as a pretext to try and get you to put out a project on my label with Cargo UK, but so moving on from that, that is out there always for you. What? If you knew how much money I make off of record sales every 3 months in the counting that we do, you would shit yourself, because I made like 50,000 pounds in the first 3 months of last year, and then more than that the next 3 months, and it just gets crazier and crazier. And that's after taxes.
Wow.
Yes, that's serious bread from record sales.
Good on you.
Good on everyone, though.
Huh?
Good on everyone, because this is a revolution that puts you in the driver's seat. It isn't about Anton and his successes.
All right, set me up a deal.
I will.
Oh, you're on. You're on.
Yeah, that's cool for another conversation. So, when's your next concert?
Oh, well, me and Ricky Mimey
Yeah.
are playing at the Ding Dong Club in Melbourne. Yay!
Yeah. That sounds like fun. How's that going? Because Ricky's like a notorious noodling type guy. How does he work with you?
He's like MD.
Really cool. So,
Yeah, he's like MD, yeah.
and because,
And when he was,
go ahead.
well, he played with the Triffids as well.
Yeah.
He was amazing in that. When he played drums, he made more. They had two drummers on every other song, and then Ricky sat down and played, and he made more sound than the fucking two drummers together.
Yeah. We're really nuts. You know, we used to do like 500 hits of Liquid at a time, and we both play every instrument and just are very, very free with our expression artistically that way. You know.
The other thing about him that's amazing, that blew my mind, is one day he came to church rehearsal in Sydney, and by the way, he's going to be special guest on our next record too. He's actually going to sit in when we're writing the songs and playing. He's going to kind of hang out and play with us.
Brilliant.
So what blew my mind is he came to church rehearsal, and as each guy would drop out to go and buy a sandwich or go and have a tea or something, Ricky would jump in on their instrument and could play it better than probably the original bloke. In drums, bass, both guitar parts, Ricky knew them inside out, like immaculately well.
Yeah, he's a sycophant supreme when it comes to the stuff that we love. He's definitely just off the scale. Our information level. I personally, when I'm talking to the fans, or people try to approach me and they start talking about me or other groups, I immediately turn off because then I don't know anything about this person. See, because I already know about this other factoids. You know, so it's like this thing, like people start talking about our history or something, or the Beatles or anybody, I just go, I don't want to talk to you anymore because I don't like sitting around to guys. This is a different situation because I'm interviewing you and we're talking and it's very freeform, sort of. But
we're the fucking experts, man.
Yeah, I know.
We have to certificate.
But you have to understand this people power thing. Just people asking silly questions, if you leave yourself vulnerable, can dominate your whole time at a certain point. Like,
I agree. I'm not putting you in that category at all.
Yeah.
Actually,
I mean, it becomes insane when I'm in Australia and I'm trying to talk to like John Saffron or something, and there's a trail of people trying to talk to me. It just becomes like this crazy situation. And I really hate artists that isolate themselves. I understand that people have to do it and it's scary, this fanaticism and stuff, but I really dislike that whole barrier because, you know, like, I hate rock stars. I hate them because rock stars rape your sister and they call it like partying with the roadies or something.
Wow.
I'm into more sophisticated stuff than that, you know, than just traveling around from town to town and setting up a party with strippers or something and drugs. Seriously, I don't even go to our own parties. I missed a really good one that Ricky went to in Paris. They opened the UFO Club, not the UFO Club, but the Paris equivalent, where Bowie and everybody played from the 60s. The Kinks used to play in it. And it's a speakeasy where you can get anything. And they invited us to go, and only Ricky went, and it was insane. He was like, they would go, do you need anything? And he'd go, well, it would be nice to have this, and they would have it. Like Grand Mariner or what? I don't know that.
I always ask for.
Yeah. Well, he was like talking about, you know, like some kind of liqueur that he fancies now.
All right.
And they just like pulled out a bottle, you know, like it was nuts. Like somebody's like, oh, can I do a line? They're like, here. Some crazy thing. I don't know. But I didn't go. I missed out.
Hey, you know, can I say once Ricky told me you guys did a line that was like 8 feet long.
More than that. I mean, the insane thing, yeah, with just craziness, you know, just being silly. We used to just, things come up. One thing that I learned at playing Tea in the Park, we were headlining the stage, and these kids came up with some blow or something, and they're like, hey, do you want to do a line? Like, people were walking up or something, and I forgot that they're like kids, right? And they will just do stuff in front of you to be cool. And here they're on their way to a heart attack at 20 years old. So it's something I would never do again. Because I didn't realize that somebody coming up to you, a stranger, would put themselves in such jeopardy just to like fit in. It slipped my mind. You know?
Wow.
That kind of thing. So I'm really careful about that stuff. And of course I don't even drink anymore, thank God. Because, yeah, I dropped it like a bad habit. No AA or anything, just... And the whole thing was, you know, I was just drinking 24 hours a day just as a mellow drunk. Just to kind of take the edge off, and that becomes its own reality, so it's pointless.
Did you have any withdrawals?
I took a medication for 3 days to stop any seizures potentially that I might have. It was some sort of benzodiazepine type thing. I could find out. It was excellent.
Yeah.
And then I went immediately on tour. I literally took the pill and got into the bus. And that was hard because, you know, alcohol in your blood, it affects your hearing. So my whole history of playing music, except when I just started when I was like 9 years old or something, I'd been hearing the world through this filter. Not only the filter that's the same as Kevin Shields, but my own perspective, where I hear these things that nobody else hears, the implied stuff, the echoes, whatever these... you know, repetitions and melodies, whatever the subtleties of mellotrons or whatever hidden in the mix. But the actual sound is shaped by alcohol in your ears. The blood pressure changes. So it was amazing for me to try and play because everything sounded wonky. So I had to act as if. I had to say, well, this sucks, but people are enjoying it, and I'll just go through this and be pissed at my band for not trying. Or something.
Yeah.
So that's...
Well, you know, I believe that all substances will affect, if say you're doing a mix, there's the marijuana mix, and then there's a cocaine mix, which is sort of all treble and everything kind of screaming at you. And then there's a heroin mix, which is sort of all kind of swimmy.
I'm influenced by Phil Spector and these guys, so what I try to do specifically is use a technical approach. I do everything the same anywhere in the world in any studio, and I don't use EQ. What I do is I use different instruments to perform that function. I record jazz exactly like Charlie Watts for drums, and I add a little tiny bit of low end to the kick drum or something, and then I go for it. So it doesn't matter what I'm on to do it. But you know, the emphasis once again isn't on drugs. We're just talking about experiences. But yeah, the coke mix, man, all that stuff, the treble, all that crap.
And loud.
And loud.
Guys on coke have got it so loud.
Yeah, but so did King Tubby.
Yeah.
You know how he mixed, Steve? You know what King... Well, King Tubby's sound system was two 15 or 18-inch speakers screwed face down into the floor at his feet, a space for his feet in between, powered by an 80-watt Marshall head from this, like, early Marshall.
Good Lord.
Totally cranked up, and the tweeters were just announcer tweeters from, you know, like if you go to a cricket pitch, and the little metal tweeters, they put those outside in a tree, and they would just roll out the dub cart, plug in the wires, and turn on the Marshall and fucking crank that stuff. And that was all of the mixes, and that's Black Ark and all that stuff. That's how they were doing that.
Wow.
Just all that low end, just to get it. He figured out what the rumble of his feet would be for a good mix, and he just like would crank everything to that level, just eyeballing it.
There are so many different ways into music, and that there's room in music for every person to have a completely individual take. Like that gentleman's take on music is so different to the next 1,000 famous musicians. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's why I love Pro Tools. Pro Tools is like Legos. You can make whatever you want. Go ahead.
Exactly. But I never as of all the music and things I've been obsessed with, I've never been obsessed with sound.
Yeah.
Like, and I've always felt there's something lacking. I still can't really get obsessed by sound. And if I listen to my favourite song, I don't care what the speakers are and stuff. I like listening to on good stuff, but I don't mind listening to on rotten stuff.
Me
I
too.
don't care. You know, I don't really care that much about sound. I don't really care much about when I record albums and stuff. I leave that to other people. Someone thinks, you know, of course I've got general ideas how I want things to be, but the actual sort of sonic and what the speakers are and all
Yeah,
this
yeah.
kind of,
Gearheads.
it just doesn't occur to me to think about music on that level. It's, you know, whatever the speakers are. But then this guy has based his whole sound around going, no, the speakers are the actual medium. You know, they're the actual.
Yeah, but you know what? Look, I produce all kinds of stuff behind the scenes too, and here's the thing. Is, you know, people sit in their studios. I go to Iceland, I use Bjork's place, Searland, and all this stuff, and I'm like, they've got these Genelecs, and the main engineer from Genelec comes in and tweaks it. He's like, we've just to have this new, you know, advancement, and I go, nobody sits 3 feet back from a set of Genelecs and listens to a record, so I don't even care about this crap, you know? It's like nobody sits perfectly in the studio between speakers and goes, this is how I listen to music. You know, they mix for car stereos, so the speaker's away from them, one's louder, and they mix for headphones. But
did you ever go to A&M Studios in LA?
Yes, of course. Mark Chalecki, I used to always go there.
Did you go out and sit in the T-Bird?
Yeah, I mastered there. I've done all that.
Listening to it on the car radio?
Yeah, I used to master my stuff at A&M before it turned into Jim Hanson's Muppet Lab. Right before Jerry Moss sold it.
Did you ever play John Lennon's Mellotron?
You know, I have screwed around with all that stuff, but the thing about it is, because of black market music, you know, in Los Angeles, when that was going, we used to go everywhere and touch everybody's stuff and either replace it, swap it out. I had known this guy collector, I'd known of this guy in Canada who bought all of the old Mellotron stuff and those tapes and would do the technician. And we have a Mellotron in California. I just use samples when I'm around the world because I sampled it for emulator systems, the EMU systems. I sampled all the Farfisa, all the Hammond, all the Vox organ, all the Ream keyboards, all their keyboard patches for emulator. That's how I paid for my early recordings with Not Human in San Francisco, is I would do those samples in the studio. I would sample every key. So everybody who's using organ sounds, period, in Cubase or whatever, in the planet is playing my keyboards. It's pretty funny.
Wow.
And
that is.
Well, whatever. I just was willing to trade the studio time. You know? Like, under the pretext that I was doing this job, I was given the most state-of-the-art studio. So in the course of a night, I would get, oh yeah, here, I've just sampled this whole Farfisa, every key, through a twin reverb, with reverb, vibrato, off, on, every single key, perfect, and edited those files, but I also made up and recorded 2 songs. And they were none the wiser.
Good on you, dude. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty wild place. Pretty great stories that I never really emphasized a lot of stuff about my own history. But I am really interested in... You know, we are writing books, but the thing is, right now, I figure I can show people with this electronic book, like my trips to the studio. You know, I just bought this thing, Steve, and this isn't a commercial, but this is a Kodak high definition, instant MP3, not MP3, but FLAV file, whatever, right to Facebook, right to YouTube. And what it does is it's good for 10 feet underwater. It's a digital high definition camera. It was 130 euros.
Fuck.
And the sound, I recorded like the telescopes they played the other night, and it's just like a CD.
Yeah. Wow.
So there's a lot of mighty tools. So what I figure is I'll just show people all my recording techniques in the studio.
Who invented that? Thomas Jerome Newton?
I don't know. I really don't know. But okay, so
Like, do you know who Thomas Jerome Newton is?
No, I don't.
He's the guy Bowie plays in The Man Who Fell to Earth.
Okay.
In the movie, he arrives and suddenly there's all this new fucking incredible technology that nobody can understand. And every time I see something like that, I think, oh, Thomas Jerome Newton's fucking been inventing things again.
Oh, I love that movie too. So funny. I'm not a big movie guy anymore because if I go to the movies and I don't like what I see, I leave immediately. So it's annoying for other people. It's an economy of time thing.
Absolutely, you begrudge the spending time on 3 hours on a load of old rubbish.
Well, also, you know, with modern culture, like, you know, that's jackass television, the jackass movies, and everything in the media. I'm to the point of hostility. I feel like my whole life has been robbed by these idiots, you know, and I want to see them hung from the street posts by piano wire. But I'm more merciful than that. But I mean, that's my natural outrage wants me to put them in the guillotine. Because it's like robbed of me of learning and enjoying anything. And now I'm a victim of these guys who run down the street with a bottle in their hand, hit you in the head with it, and put you on YouTube. And this is what I've got from that. So I want to kill all those people. But back to what I'm going to kill them with art and outproduce them. This is better than YouTube, mind you, because I'm going to beam this to YouTube. See, this technology encompasses YouTube or anything you can make up. I'm using Skype. I'll use anything. I'm using Facebook. I can put the television news of any website, anything right here on this side, where your picture is. And I'll show you how I do that right now. Here we go. Here is the wall of Facebook on Facebook. You're going to pop out. There's a delay. Now watch this. Come on. Here we go. There, I'm surfing Facebook now. Look at it go up and down because there's a delay. Look at that. I'm on my Facebook page, broadcasting.
Infinitely regressing.
Pretty interesting stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that could just as easily be the BBC News. If something happens, we can cut to it. You know, I can cut to I can do anything television can do faster right here with this thing that I invented. And that's a fact. Wow. It is a wow moment. And the only reason you're not watching this on the TV news right now is they do not want to empower me. Because I am Big Brother right now. And it's really amazing. And I captured this instead of pornography, instead of some like left-wing communist ideology or anarchist black bloc propaganda or anything, blue-eyed Al-Qaeda. This is about the arts. And the reason you know I'm the only one doing it is look at your own Facebook wall. Anybody would be doing this right now. I'm the only one.
Wow.
Amazing, huh?
Innovate bastard.
Well, I always knew that about me, and the state of California knew that about me because I was tested with a 162 IQ in kindergarten with a 5th grade IQ, with vocabulary. So we knew I was going to be up to something. The weird thing is the question by society, they always ask, where's this headed? Whether it's you being on MTV in the early days, when you guys had the massive hit. Ladies and gentlemen, Steve and Marty and the guys, they penned a song called Under the Milky Way. And it touched a nerve with people. They identified with, it was like this dreamy romanticism kind of, you know, and it resonated with people when it was released, and the rest is history. Massive albatross, right?
Not at all. No, I don't think so.
Okay, good.
You know what? I always say this, but it's true. If you're going to get saddled with one song, then I'm glad it was that one. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
Not some fucking horrible novelty jingle, like, you know.
It could be anything. Some remix, some guy. It could have been like some guy from the record company going, we want to have this kid remix it. And they throw in, you know, like a rapper going, yo, Steve. Exactly. Yo, Steve. Hey, Steve.
And every time you perform it, you have to have the rapper there going, "Hey Steve, hey
Yeah.
Steve, hey Steve."
Yeah, exactly. And there's a whole can of worms there. But what I wanted to say. Do you care if we'll still be online? Do you care if I play the Sea Line song for everyone so they can know about that song?
Oh, I'd love you to do that.
We'll still be online. Just be patient with me. Here we go.
The sting penetrates your finger. You're strapped to the pin like an angry stranger. The moment the rain freezes in the gutter, come the flaming birds and the hideous matter. The second the claw lifts up your chin, I'm alone in your head and you can't get in. Somebody said that it's all for you. It's a miracle, let it alter you. But I will not follow you to the seaside. Somebody will turn it on for you. Revelation, baby, you're beautiful, but I will not follow you to the sea line. The instant the transfer hits your account, as it's deep in the black and just one way out. The morning the storm rolled to the coast, we were down to the shake and our silent throats. The evening, the trees lash at the window, the roots curl up to strangle the candles. Somebody said that it's all for you. It's a miracle, let it alter you. But I will not follow you to the seaside. Somebody will turn it on for you. Revelation, baby, you're beautiful, but I will not follow you.
watching Dead TV Live, broadcasting from Prince Lauerberg in Berlin and Reykjavik, Iceland. On the show right here, we have Steve Kilbey. He is a co-leader of the church. He's also an artist, an individual in his own right. So I don't want to belittle that part of it because people have this band thing. Like how do you separate Paul McCartney from the Beatles? You can't, so we're fucked. But basically, I wanted to also honor the fact that he is an artist with his own identity, as well as a member of a collective group and a project that has a vast body of work. Who also, his video just disappeared. Maybe, oh, there you go.
No, I'm back.
It happens. This technology I'm using is actually more dependable than the Skype.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay, we were discussing while we were just listening to a song called Sea Lion from Forget Yourself, a record that he released, I guess maybe created 5 years ago. It was a figure that
2003, I think it came out.
Wow. That's great. I think I should do some colored vinyl and re-release that. Maybe another cover, and do it from a European. What?
Please feel free.
Okay, well, I'll work on the packaging of that immediately. And then I'll have Stuart Flint contact you from Cargo. I think the kind of deal that I'm doing with people like you is because of our manufacturing, I basically have to pay somebody to handle that. I think we're doing like 20%. We take 20% bottom line. So you would get 80% of all money that changes hands. That's better than anybody in the business. That's when when I sign a band right now and I go, I want to make a greatest hits record, I go, okay, we're going to take 20% for packaging and handling. And we do accounting every 3 months. So that's like the best deal, and that's why I'm signing bands, not dropping them. So, and non-exclusive. I just make 180 gram vinyl, So if you want to go out and sign or license to somebody else because all of a sudden there's this groundswell of interest, that's fine with me because you can't take the plates with you or whatever. Anyway, I have business people dealing with that. Ted Gardner is my manager. He's an Aussie. He's great.
Ted Gardner.
Ted fucking Gardner.
Ted Gardner, mate. Watch out.
He's great. We're kicking butt. Steve, did you know that we got the theme song to Boardwalk Empire?
What's that?
It's the new Sopranos.
Wow.
That's a big gig, Steve. That is like, check it out. It's a 5-year contract, DVDs and everything. That is like if I just got a job in Manhattan at Merrill Lynch, the amount of money that they gave me. Weekly check.
Wow.
That was a thank you from Martin Scorsese to me.
So, you're going to send me a bit on for being a bit of an influence on you?
What? Oh, you mean I'm going to kick you down some money?
You keep telling me how much you're making, and then you say, and then you write in one of your records that I'm an influence. It's like, I'm like, I haven't got 2 halfpennies to fucking rub together, governor. You can send me, like, you've made telephone figure money, just fucking send me 20 grand. And just go, thanks for all the influence. Now I've made it big, you've played a little bit of a part in this. Send a bit to some of your other heroes.
No problem. You gotta get in line though.
Who am I behind?
Well, first of all, I have a son, something that you know about.
Yeah.
And he's at a young age. He's a little bit older than your twins, the youngest ones. And his mother has something to say about that. And so I have to also deal with the tax. And they haven't sent me anything. And what I can do basically is
donate it to the Steve Kilbey Foundation.
Do you got one?
The Steve Kilbey Foundation.
Old school.
Yeah.
You're a church. You should be listed in America as a nonprofit.
Yeah, which profit spelt with a PH.
Yeah, exactly. But a prophet is never realized in his own town. See, people are like, well, Anton spent the night when he was 8 and he pissed all over our couch. So he's not the son of God. We know that. You know?
Yeah.
Okay, here's a good question.
I'm gobsmacked.
Yeah. Do you have any advice to young people starting out like we did back there? What would you do if you were going to start a band right now?
Oh.
What would be your first move?
Oh, well, the main difference is these days everybody's got recording technology in spades at their fingertips. When I started off, I had a big struggle getting my ideas across, because I just come in a room and say, oh, I've got this song, and strum some chords and sing the words, and people go, oh, that's fucking not very good. But in my head, I could hear the
symphony
drums and the basses. I could hear it all, yeah. So my songs were mediocre. And also the way I was writing them as well, because I was writing them as a strummy thing. And then in 1977, the first TAC 4-track became available domestic.
Yeah, I remember it.
You could overdub at home on a very kind of small, cheapish system. And then I really, from then on in, that's how I wrote my songs, by like constructing them on tape, like little bits at a time, like just getting a little idea and just keep building on it, rather than sort of this grand idea happening all at once. And then also when you present them, you just come into a band and you say, here's my fucking song, you stick a cassette on, and they go, oh, and they can immediately hear how good or bad it is, rather than you trying to, oh no, but you know, it takes such a leap of faith if you just come in and go, here's a song, and play it to them on a guitar.
Sure.
And then you're doing that, and half the guys in the group will look going, oh, he's not a very good guitarist, instead of listening to the song. You know what I mean? It's all that kind of malarkey.
Hey, you know what? My advice is you have to be severe and persevere. Man, you have to set your mind on what you really want to do. Second of all, you have to understand that people aren't going to get it, and they're going to get it in their own way. The major problem that people have these days is they think that everybody's thinking exactly like they are at the same time. And that is so counter to the truth. The truth is everybody has their own unique perspective that you can try you can try and approximate other people, what they're trying to say, what they're looking at, what they see in some other girl, but you never see it exactly the same way.
That's right.
The thing that you guys did is you, first of all, that I see, is you picked a great name.
Oh, I hate the name.
Well,
I do, I hate that name.
It didn't hold you back.
Yeah.
See, like, here's my point. My point being, Steve, if you're still there, let's see if you come back. Okay. My point being, like, The Cure got signed in 1975 before they had a record. Their name, no matter what the ailment was, it was The Cure. It was a genius idea to begin with, more so than the Beatles.
Yeah.
But a different era.
Yeah.
But now what they did... Go ahead.
I have to say this.
Mm-hmm.
In 1963, a band being called the Beatles was quite a unique... of course, there had been the Crickets, Buddy Holly and the Crickets, but the Beatles spelt like that, and when then you suddenly saw them, it's quite easy to underestimate how kind of revolutionary that actually was, because I was living in that black and white world that suddenly the Beatles exploded into colour, you know?
Yeah, but you know what? People had already been doing that with calling their band the Weavers.
I know that, but they weren't sort of young white English guys with kind of longish hair and playing these kind of like... And there's a kind of... You listen to when those early Beatles songs come on the radio, they just jump out of this out of the car.
It was marketing genius, but you got to remember, check this out. The Zombies pissed all over the Beatles. The Beatles aren't the greatest anything. They're just a marketing fucking...
Nah.
Okay, well, here's the fact. Here's the fact, Steve. Listen to me for 1 second, please. Check this out. The Beatles sold 300,000 copies of their biggest single, and the Zombies sold 1 million coming out of a garage. Same time.
Oh, wow.
And that was suppressed. Tell Her No and She's Not There. Both sold 1 million copies, and the Beatles maximum could only sell 350,000. And that was a fact, and they were suppressed.
But what's that going to do? Why are you measuring things in those terms?
Because the Beatles were a cover band that were marketed, and the reason bands cannot send their tapes directly.
Anton, don't forget one thing.
Yeah.
I was their old son. I was there in 1963. I was 9 years old. I was watching it like a hawk. I was buying Beatles magazines, conversations around where even my old aunts would be saying, "Who was your favourite Beatle?" I saw the impact of the Beatles. The Zombies came like at least sort of like a year later, or a good 6 months later. They had a great song. I love "She's Not There." It's amazing. It's revolutionary with the electric piano, with that breathy singing.
Ray Charles.
But you could never compare the Zombies to the Beatles.
Well, you know, my point, we're getting hung up on a tangent. My point being that we talk about this history. On this show, Steve, you haven't tuned in yet, I play songs and artists all day long from the same era that just piss all over all the Beatles music. And on top of that, listen, check. Well, that's an opinion. Okay, but now check this out. Ready? On top of that, you know, we look at the Rolling Stones as having Satisfaction being revolutionary sound and all this stuff. Bobby Jameson, I just covered that song, took that sound to the Rolling Stones. They paid for that sound. It was a gift. Jack Nietzsche and Bobby Jameson went to England before the Rolling Stones and said, "Here, since you guys have paid for it, here's all of our tricks." And then the Rolling Stones become something else. And there's this whole cosmology that doesn't get out there. And I'm here to say that if the Beatles thought they could never be bigger than Elvis Presley, then it wouldn't have happened, or Buddy Holly. And what I'm saying is this is our time, and we have the right to take it back from the Beatles. The Beatles are not the greatest band in the world. This is our time. We'd like it back. That was great for that century. Right now, what I want to say is this is what's going on. This is more important. Paul McCartney could have invented this with all of his money and resources. He didn't. I did. This is our time, and I am greater than anybody in the 60s because by virtue, this is different. It's different. This is now, I have more working against me than they ever had. There's more distractions infinitely. And bottom line, it's what you choose to do. And I want to empower people here and say that that was not the be-all, end-all. It was very captivating to see that be everywhere and everybody's reaction to mass hysteria. But you got to remember, that was triggered. Look at Hitler was more popular than the fucking Beatles. Right? Little girls were like wanting to hump him as he drove by. That's what fanaticism means. Fans. The root of the word cell is fanaticism. But enough about Hitler, because we are in Germany and this program is about... No, listen, I'm telling the truth. This program is about the future, and it was created in Germany, and there's other people that can comment on the past better than me. There's scholars, there's people that can put it in perspective, the Holocaust and all this stuff. We don't focus on any of those issues and actually deter people from conversing in our chat room, because there's Simon Wiesenthal can bring up his perspective, you know, and all that junk can be over there and not belittle it.
Anton, I thought you were going to sort of ask me about guitar tuning and sort of reverse reverb.
Okay. Let's get down to business. What's your favorite guitar to play? I thought you play bass.
I do. I play guitar sometimes if I'm allowed to.
Okay. You like Rickenbackers, right?
No.
Do you like these? Steve.
What?
Look at the screen in a second.
Hang on. Teardrop.
Vox ultrasonic with built-in wah-wah, built-in fuzz, like the Mary Chain and all the Satisfaction sound. But wow. The thing that I love about these, and I have several, is see this fretboard? If you look at my fingers, when I play a 3-fingered A, okay, it's as big as a fret. On a Rickenbacker, it won't even fit. See, I play folk style, the lower 7. I don't play Ramon style, so I play like this. See, the whole time? I play chords. So the larger fretboard, better sound quality, this pisses all over a Rickenbacker, and I have both. So Vox is my thing. What's your thing?
Wow. My thing with guitars, I probably have to be boring to say like a Jaguar or a Strat.
They're solid workhorses and revolutionary in their design and marketing. Unfortunately, they're too expensive for the average person to have a quality one. I was looking for a tele-broadcaster because I'm doing this psychotic surf element to some of our things, this Morricone sensibility, and I decided I wanted to buy one, and they're 30,000. 30,000.
Hey, hang on. A broadcaster is a very rare guitar, Anton. You can't be surprised that cost that much.
30,000 quid.
That is a lot of money, but it must be like a classic broadcaster.
50. 1950.
They're rare. How many are there?
So maybe like a couple hundred, 200,
There
maybe.
you go, they're like Stradivari.
So what, man? I worked hard. I have like over 400 songs.
No, good. No, but I'm just saying that's why it's costing that amount of money. And you know what? I reckon you've reached the diminished law of diminishing marginal utility there, because I don't think it will be really much better or sound that much different to probably your average old telly.
Yeah.
You'd probably pay 5,000 quid for.
Well, I'm thinking about getting a Mexican copy of the broadcaster in the 90s. They put them out for a little while if I can find one, but even those are rare.
Even the fakes are rare.
Well, it's a real Fender, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
I like the B-bender on those.
I tell you a very, very useful instrument, which I had until when I went through my tired and emotional period, I sold it to Marty Wilson Piper because I needed the cash. And that's a Fender 6-string bass.
Yep, I love those. All the Coronado surf stuff is great.
Yeah.
I like that. The Fender experiments, because I like the Standells amps and all that stuff that they did with the solid state experimental stuff in the surf. Where I come from in Newport Beach, California, it's very similar to Bondi Beach. It's almost exactly the same climate, and the tourists and just the natural areas very similar to Corona del Mar. The rock formations and the trees it's planted with eucalyptuses, and that's the capital of surf music. That's where the whole thing happened in Southern California.
Do you know the difference?
What is the difference?
The difference is, which is strange because it's the same ocean, right? But the sea here is kind of blue, and the water's kind of clear. And over there at Newport Beach, it's kind of dark and clouded and sort of cold, and the waves aren't that good. But the sea in Bondi is just great.
I know, and I love Australia.
Australia loves you, Anton. You know that.
I know, that's been so
I speak
great.
on behalf of all Australians and English, who I'm also authorised to represent. Both countries extend the Anglo-Austro-Americo brotherhood, hands across the water, fingers across the sea. Anton, we worship thee.
Oh, come on. Because I really hate rock stars and all that stuff. I know that I'm a great person, and that's enough for me. But the thing about it that's interesting about Anglo, see this flag back here, Iceland's flag? You notice how it's the same cross as the English flag? That is the real United Kingdom. Do you understand? The United Kingdom isn't Wales. It's all the Scando countries. It's Prince Beatrix and all these people.
Yes, exactly. They're all related. They're all put there by Napoleon, kind of, weren't they?
It goes back a little bit farther than that. Basically, the UK Londinium is the Rome. Rome got sacked and they moved the headquarters. That's why this is the logo, the laurels. It's a repetitive thing. And speaking of that, check this out.
What's that?
That's my tattoo. It's laurels.
Laurels.
Like Fred Perry, but only Fred Perry just adopted it means I'm a champion. It's tattooed on my chest. Like wreaths, like if you're an Olympiad, only Caesar has gold ones. You're not supposed to rest on your laurels because the green turns to brown and turns to dust.
Wow.
Yeah, it is heavy shit. But now check this out though. You know I pay all my tax to the UK.
Yeah, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have an LTD. Isn't it amazing that I would pick one of the highest tax rates?
Do you talk a lot about money and tax and stuff, Anton?
No, this is informative, what I'm getting to. Do you know why I don't care about taxes? Because
you make so much fucking money, mate.
No, because I look at it all as a gift. So if they want to take 50% of my gift, I'm still getting 50% that I didn't expect to ever get because I'm an artist.
Yeah, but you're lucky you're getting such a big gift that you don't mind sharing your gift so generously.
Well, it's so abstract, you know. I
It is.
I live in the EU. I am a European. I might have an American ancestry that before that it was Germans. Do you see? But I'm a European. My culture isn't based in Jamaica.
Fair enough.
You know, and that's fine. I embrace all cultures. Hey, Steve, I want to show you this technology. Why don't you give me something that's kind of obscure that you think will be on YouTube that's not like something like, why don't you tell us a song you want me to find and I'll show you guys how to do it in this one window right here.
Okay, so I'm challenging you to find a hard song to find.
Well, if it's on YouTube, I want to show you how quick we do this here.
So I'm just going to pick a song off YouTube.
Well, just tell me the name of a song.
Okay, Animal Army,
And who is it by?
Babylon Zoo.
Okay, I got it right here. Now watch this. Okay, Babylon Zoo. Here I go. I'm going to stop this from playing. I'm going to grab this. I'm hoping that I'm going to go here to Derpy. I'm going to put this right here in this window. I'm going to press enter. Going down here, high quality MP4. It's downloading. It says I have 40 seconds, 30 seconds. I'm going to wait till it gets to 10. Let's see, 30, 29, 28, 27. I've got it now. I'm going to go over here to import media. I'm going to write animal, what was it?
Animal Army.
Okay, here it is. And by request, Steve Kilbey, Animal Army.